Hey everyone, I'm Charting Man Dan with the Chart Guys. I've been trading cannabis stocks for over 13 years. We're going to check in on the sector as well as some psychedelic names. We had a pretty wild end of the week for the higher listed names CGC and ACB, but some blow off types of candles on Friday and a little bit of rotation the second half of Friday into US names. But the US side needs a lot of help for those bulls. Let's get to the charts. All right, so CGC, we're going to start with everything on the weekly time frame and then zoom in from there. CGC, I'm watching for a weekly tightening range. It's going to be a common theme in this video because in the absence of news, when you see significant volatility in both directions, you scout equilibriums. That is something that I have utilized in my trading to anticipate most likely scenarios, and that is a large reason for my ability to have success trading equilibrium patterns is ability to recognize and anticipate them, and it is what is happening in this sector. So again, in the absence of news, we're going to look to tighten up, which would mean keeping an eye out for a weekly lower high in CGC, anything under 1157, and just looking for something like that. Of course, we're going to take it one day at a time, and probabilities are going to change throughout the next couple of weeks, depending on what the broader market does and things like that. But on Friday, we had a huge bull morning and a climax top. Why is it a climax top? Well, number one, that big upper wick clearly shows us a bunch of profit taking, but just the magnitude of that push up, the fact that we were at that point already up a significant amount. So the bounce had already gone 50%, and then we see a 15% morning. In the first hour of trading, we're up 15% or whatever it is. And so now the question is going to be, can we confirm the hourly downtrend? Here's an hourly bear flag attempt. And if on Monday we break 871, the daily lower high is set. And I'll probably be on the daily and not the weekly because I like the details here. And then we'll just look for a daily high or low and to keep tightening up. Look at the beauty of the stair step. Go to our website and search stair step and you'll find an ebook and a video about it. But just lower high every single day, 7 days in a row. Then a higher low every single day, 7 days in a row. And now the question, is that going to break and have us tighten up? And I anticipate more likely than not that will be the case. One thing that I keep pointing out, and I know a lot of the technical analysis haters are going to say, whoa, it's easy in hindsight. I posted every one of these things on Twitter after it happened. It's happened 3 times now, this volume signal. I talked about it on the Dales report on Friday. The most common pattern in stocks, whether it's Amazon, Apple, whatever you're watching, the first 5 minutes of volume is the highest volume on the morning. Everything under that is less as things settle down. There's a fervor in the first 5 minutes, and then it settles in. And when there is anything other than that, it stands out and it gets your attention saying, this is different. I don't have the probabilities off my hand or the frequency, but I would just guess that out of the names that I watch, to have higher 5-minute volume, 30 minutes into the morning as opposed to the first 5 minutes, I'd say it happens less than 5% of the time, which is infrequent, which means it really stands out when it happens. And so CGC on Friday, and I don't have my order here, but posted that on Twitter as well. As soon as I see this volume, the second candle higher than the first, I'm looking long instantly. And I need to see the bull showing me that we're likely to break the high of yesterday, Thursday, which was 910. So as soon as I see the bulls are going to break 910, I've got the volume signal, I've got a break of resistance, and I'm in. And then it's just scaling out and entering with a solid position. And I ended up scaling out of this name in fifths. I exited 20%, 20%, 20%. And my final exit was above $10 because my goal was exceeded on the morning and it went up 15% or whatever, even more. I mean, look at how fast this move is on the 5-minute time frame. 10, 20, 30, 35 minutes. The price is up 17%. I will sell that move every time because of how fast and hard that is. And, if I'm holding out for more at that point, that's greed. I mean, if I want more than 17% in the first, whatever, unless there's news, okay, then hold on for longer. But anyways, it was a really nice trade. And then it was all fade from there. And we didn't get the red flag. I actually tried to re-enter. So I tried to sell everything after the $10 break. Then I rebuy it 980 or whatever, 984. I sell half at 991. My break even is 979. I put my stop at under 972. So I'm risking a small amount of the profit that I just made, maybe 12% of the profit that I just made on the morning. I'm risking to try and reload just in case, we see a breakout continue. As soon as I stop out, everything changes. I'm done with these names long. Done. I got my goal in the morning. It's Friday afternoon at this point. And then it started to clearly look like a blow off top candle. And so, I was posting, yes, we're going to bounce eventually, but just be aware that this is likely a daily top being set. And we know an hourly lower high is the most likely result of the next bounce. And again, it's always easy in hindsight, but just got the chat room play-by-play. And one more point, I was wrong on the morning. This is what I love about technical analysis. I'm just getting some stuff here. So what I love about technical analysis is being dead wrong and making money. How does that happen? So here's my post pre-market. CGC is all about the 863 double bottom of the last 2 days. 863, 864. If that level breaks, the daily lower high is set and we start that equilibrium consolidation. I expect a bear break and I would be real impressed if the bulls hold it today. I expect a bear break. Wrong. How did I change my mind so quickly? Volume signal, break of 910. That's how easy I'm able to abandon my bias and make money when I get information that tells me that what I anticipated is wrong, and here's the new setup. Here's the new information, and I can act on that new information. It's just like playing poker. Let's say I've got ace king, and I raise or whatever, and we're on the flop, and the flop is, whatever. I don't hit the flop. I miss it. And then I get the turn. I get to see more information. And the turn gives me, a pair and a flush draw. Everything just changed from my percentage probabilities on the flop with that new card. And that is new information that I can now act on. Just like I got new information in the first 5 to 7 minutes of trading that gave me new information to act on. That's a good analogy of poker and trading and how you need to be unattached to your bias so you can maneuver to the new information and accept it in an unbiased manner and act on it. All right, now we're ranting. It's going to be a long video. So CGC, we'll see if we start this daily consolidation. What bulls want to see is first hourly oversold conditions. Let's say we get daily consolidation, hourly bear flag confirms Monday. They want to see first hourly oversold conditions mark a daily higher low. That would be a great sign as far as trying to keep this move going. And the fact that we did hold weekly EMA 12 is a good sign as well, big picture. We have to confirm a weekly uptrend. We only haven't had a daily uptrend on the way up. So one time frame at a time, and now it's can the bulls confirm a weekly uptrend over the next couple of weeks. ACB, weaker. Same thing, watching for a weekly lower high and really struggling at 745. We talked about it on the way down, how it was just 745, 744, 743, 739. Clearly the bears are defending that zone. And we did break that level to the penny a couple times this week, but zero follow through. Here's a break. We can't close above it. We consolidate for 2 days. Here's a break. We can't do anything above it. We give it all back. The bears are very clearly defending 745 to 750, whatever. And so now we're back down at the low of consolidation here. And I'm now looking down at 615 as the next support level, but obviously a much weaker close. Try and confirm the daily bull flag and then just fall flat on your face and fail as far as a bull perspective. Cron, weekly higher low is set. Nice move. Same thing. I'm watching for a daily lower high. Stair step down, lower high every single day for 8 days. That breaks with some solid follow through, and we're watching for something like that. But bulls held the gains better than CGC and ACB on Friday. So trying to fend off that daily lower high being set just yet. As far as all the other higher listed names, you can just run through real quick and see how do they differ. SNDL double topped at 208. Couldn't break that bounce high. If we drop down and break 194, that's bears retaking control. Have to get over 208 if we're going to see this kind of move that CGC is trying to put together. Need more space off of the recent low. CGC has way more space to work with off of that recent low where we came off of. GRWG, weaker. Daily downtrend. We would have to hold 207 and break 248 if we're going to try and see the same thing where CGC is doing that. So all these names, CGC clearly standing out as a lead bull all week compared to higher listed names. ACB was up there with it. Pretty much everything else was weaker, at least out of the names that I watch. TLRY has been weaker ever since earnings. It's just the analogy I keep using on the Dales report is it's just a cloud hanging over the name now because of that earnings reaction. And it's been underperforming everything since then. And so, should we look for it to be a laggard? Well, not without a news catalyst, in my opinion. It's not exactly like everybody's throwing money. We're getting nice volatility and moves in the higher listed names, but it's not like everybody's throwing their money at the sector. That's the kind of environment I need to be looking for laggards, where people are scrambling. All right, what hasn't run yet? Where can I throw my money? We don't have that environment in this sector. So simple statement is, if we don't break 187, it's a bear flag that's going to head down and test its recent lows of 165. Yes, there is a base of support, 160, 165, that bulls really want to hold. But this is, again, the kind of name. I'm just going to say the exact same thing that I said here. I have no interest looking long if we're just showing weakness and setting lower highs every time. Break the lower highs, something's different. Things are shifting. Show me, TLRY bulls, that something is different and things are shifting, where you're getting relative strength now, because you've done nothing on this chart to earn my money. You're not proving anything to me. And I have to see that, knowing I don't need to nail the bottom to have a solid trade. So just waiting, observing every day. Is anything changing? Nope. Okay. Focus on the other names. VFF, volatility is coming here. Look how tight we are on the daily. I really like this setup for clarity. I really dislike the amount of volume on this name. If we fail 145, we can tighten up within this range for another week plus. So I would watch for volatility and volume. You won't break this range without a clear high volume day. I would watch for volume and volatility this coming week, but keep in mind that it could take one extra week. If it's a red week, it could take an extra week, essentially. But again, we got an uptick in volume on Friday, sure, but now it's $1 million on the day, which is, again, nothing, absolutely nothing in the world of stocks. On to the US side, MSOS. So the US side clearly way weaker than the higher listed names this past week. And they're, again, just using myself as one individual as an example. I trade with a group of a few hundred people in this sector, and then magnifying that by everybody else. So if I'm getting my attention on CGC and ACB and volatility and opportunity and volume, I know that that's just magnified by thousands of people. Thousands of other traders are having that same mindset of just sucking attention away from the US side of things, because, again, in the absence of news, the US side of things has a default of slow bleeding. And so, on a day-to-day basis, there's opportunity elsewhere. But we are watching for a weekly high or low, anything above 730. Again, we can very easily, if the bulls show up from here, we can very easily do something like this. Context of the broader market matters. IWM needs to confirm a daily uptrend and act as a laggard to the bounce this past week in the NASDAQ and semiconductors in the broader market. And so if that happens, in my opinion, MSOS is going to get this weekly bounce going. I do believe that is a more significant factor than most people are giving it credit for. And some people even call me effing stupid for highlighting an IWM correlation, or at least broader sentiment impact on this sector. And those people have done this way less than I have. So MSOS is a potential daily falling wedge. And that needs to break bull. Daily downtrend, same as TLRY from way back when. If we just keep setting daily lower highs, absolutely nothing changes, and I don't have to put too much attention into analysis. If we break 902, the daily lower highs break, and we say, okay, something's different than it has been in the last few weeks. Then we must confirm the daily uptrend to follow through. The rotation was clearly taking place. This does not happen intraday often. There's plenty of times where, the higher listed names will clearly be stronger than US, or US names will clearly be stronger than the higher listed names. But this was inverse in the sense that, let's just pull up the 15-minute chart and compare the two. So MSOS on the left, CGC on the right. MSOS opened lower because of broader market weakness. And they did go up together on the morning, but look at from 10 a.m. on. So 10 a.m., it's all downside to 12:45, and here is, holding sideways while we're topping out on the other side, and then going up all afternoon while we stayed weak. And, it's the kind of thing where I was watching this, and could I have predicted that, we were going to see rotation and USMJ would have a strong afternoon? No, I could recognize the signs of it. And I was talking about watching for rotation midday, but it is something, I forgot my train of thought. So, nice rotation for MSOS. And tried to close strong, 863 short-term support. Again, all the action happens in the last hour for MSOS. It's just, that's where the volatility is. And it's just who's going to come out on top this time around. But all about 902. We need to confirm an hourly uptrend. Anything above 8, ideally, in an ideal world, 863 is the hourly high or low. And we break 902 on Monday morning. But again, want to see IWM breaking 199 to confirm its daily uptrend to try and act as a laggard. So we'll see if the bulls can pull it off. If they do, we will then zoom out on and look for a weekly lower high, but one day at a time. Individual names are doing the same thing. So TCNNF just barely holding EMA 12, holding it the whole way up. Daily falling wedge, same as MSOS. And bulls need to break the lower highs. Resistance 1109. So solid candle. Can we follow through? When's the last time we saw 2 green days in a row? We haven't seen 2 meaningful green days in a row since we topped out. GTBIF, same deal, looking for the weekly high or low. Got to be cautious of head and shoulders. We'll talk about that in a couple weeks if it shapes up, but this is a possibility of a head and shoulders. If we were to get no news and go into a summer bleed, that's what it would look like. But first things first, can we get that bounce? Daily falling wedge, looks the same. Bulls need to break 1275, step 1. And then we're looking at 1365 from there. Just the daily lower high downtrend. Cureleaf looks different. Cureleaf, and this wick isn't real. This is what I hate about the OTC names. You got to zoom in. Is that wick real? No. How do I know? Because it was half as much volume as this candle. This candle has a 1 cent range, a 2 cent range, and this candle has a 6% range. Does it make any sense that on half the volume, we could have 15 times the range of the candle? No, makes no sense. High of the day, 503. So I have to manually put that in. And then what does the daily look like? That was the high of the day. We did not break 508 resistance as far as I'm concerned. 508 and then 541 are resistances. There is short-term relative strength to peers because we're holding support while those other names are doing this slow bleed. So a little bit of relative strength in Cureleaf this past week. We'll see if the bulls can do anything with it. Smaller names, again, these equilibriums. So what I'm watching for on CGC has been happening on these names for many, many months. Here's your equilibrium. It broke bull. Now we got another one. Here's your equilibrium, trying to set a higher low compared to 181, or 165, I should say. If we do, we're going to look for something like that. So bulls have to prove to us on the daily. It's a tightening one, similar to Cureleaf. Bulls need to get over 259 to be shaping up this weekly. I mean, just look at it. It's equilibriums within equilibriums. It's just fractals of the same patterns. You better believe there was an hourly equilibrium somewhere in there as well. VRNOF, equilibrium. We had one back here. Tightening range, bull break. Now another tightening range. Can we set the weekly high or low? And do that. Well, to do it on the daily, we need the bulls to break 520 and 542 to shape that up. On to the psychedelic names, CMPS. So CMPS had a clear uptrend. We had a bull flag confirmed. So here's a bull flag with follow through. The follow through, percentage-wise, before we topped out, was 21%. Here's a bull flag with no follow through. And that follow through was to the tune of 4%. And then we started consolidation. That's a red flag of bulls tiring. Just imagine, just imagine a big fat bull running and jumping. And he runs and he jumps, and he runs and he jumps, and he runs and he jumps. And now he's hardly making any progress. Each jump is smaller and smaller. He's tiring. And then he's done. Lower high, lower low, weekly downtrend. Let's not forget how long it took MSOS to confirm a monthly, weekly, daily uptrend. Remember how long that took? Back up. We bounced for 2 months, 3 months, consolidated for a month, sideways for a month, confirmed. All in all, from the low, it took 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months to confirm an uptrend. Well, a little bit more, but 6 months. CMPS is trying to get the same thing going. This weekly chart is bearish. We're in a downtrend, but I'm going to zoom out and remind myself we came off the lows. We have not set a monthly higher low and higher high yet. So it is worth scouting for a monthly higher low to try and form sometime over the next month or two. We have to make note that we also had a monster move back here that failed, so it's possible we just slow bleed to fresh lows, but it's a big enough bounce to scout for a monthly higher low. So an aggressive bull wants something to shape up where they can say, that's either the monthly high or low or I'm wrong, and they use that new level as a stop. And so maybe it's the first confirmed daily uptrend. All right, then I'm using that low as a stop, but still a very clear daily downtrend at this point. Lower high, lower low, lower high, held support, lower high, lower low. So anything under 865, just a daily lower high. Show me something is shifting, and a daily confirmed uptrend would be the first baby step of a monthly higher low, but no sign of it at this point. MNMD, weekly EMA 12 support test, no major red flags at this point. Again, I don't have any positions open in the psychedelic sector at the moment, and I'm in no rush either. So anything under 935 is a daily lower high. Again, just look at the periods of volume, pretty solid volume, and then it just drops off. I know it looks pretty similar here, but we're trading 2.5 to 4 million shares, and now we're trading, 650,000 shares on Friday. The volume just drops off massively. And so again, I want to be trading actively when there's high volume, and I want to be trading way less when there's low volume. So anything under 935, daily lower high. And can we see some indication of bulls shifting the daily? And again, the correlation between the biotech sector and the psychedelics is really strong. The biotech sector, so here's how correlations work. Ready? So it's just like these Russian dolls, whatever they're called. You've got the MNMD correlates, so psychedelic sector correlates to the biotech sector. The biotech sector correlates to somewhat healthcare, but really more IWM, the Russell 2000 growth stocks. IWM correlates to the financial sector because IWM sector-wise, the largest holdings are financial stocks. And XLF correlates with the S&P 500, the broader market, everything. And that's what it goes on down the line like that. But if I'm watching MNMD, I'm watching the biotech sector, XBI. And if I'm watching XBI, I'm watching IWM. I'm really watching all of them. And so again, XBI is one of the weakest sectors right now. And look at how similar these charts look. We're wrapping it up here. Last point, MNMD. So has it been the same for months and months and months? No, but it's been the same since we topped out. April 4th to last 3 weeks, let's call it. So where's April 4th? Tightening range, bear break, few day bounce, lower low, 1 day bounce. So here's let's just look at from the 12th. So the 12th, we're going straight down. The 12th is here. There's your 2 day bounce. It's a 1 day bounce, couple day pullback, green day. It's just so similar with what they're doing here. MNMD, tiny, no volume, little, not a penny stock, but close. XBI, big time sector, way more dollar volume, and we're just following in its wake. All right, do good things. Appreciate you watching. Have a great weekend.